The economic crisis of 1991 created a situation where India had to accept the condition imposed by the World Bank and IMF loan, which included structural reforms. As a result, the Indian economy was opened up to foreign participation in various sectors, including state-owned enterprises. This move towards liberalization was seen by some as necessary to secure much-needed funds and prevent default on loan payments. However, it also led to concern about the impact of foreign entities on India's economy and the potential loss of control over vital industries. Dear friends, today we will try to understand what situation arose in the Indian economy in 1991 that pushed India to adopt the policy of liberalization, and how serious was this emerging situation that led to a troubling history glistening in Indian economics textbooks. The Indian economic crisis of 1991. So friends, today we will try to find the answer that what were the cause of the Indian economic crisis of 1991.
Let's get it started.
The economic crisis was primarily due to the large and growing fiscal imbalances over the 1980s. During the mid-80s, India started having the balance of payments problems, precipitated by the Gulf War. India's oil import wheel swelled, exports slumped, credit dried up, and investors took their money out. Large fiscal deficits over time had a spillover effect on the trade deficit, culminating in an external payments crisis. By the end of 1980s, India was in serious economic trouble. One of the main causes of the crisis was the accumulation of foreign debt. In the 1980s, India had borrowed heavily from the international lenders, in part to finance infrastructure projects and industrialization. However, by 1991, the country was facing a severe balance of payments crisis, as it was unable to service its debt and was running out of foreign exchange reserves. There were also structural problems in the Indian economy that contributed to the crisis, including a high fiscal deficit, low savings and investment rates, and inadequate export growth. Dear friends, the 1991 Indian economic crisis was an economic crisis in India resulting from a balance of payments deficit due to excess reliance on imports and other external factors. India's economic problems started worsening in 1985 as imports swelled, leaving the country in a twin deficit. The Indian trade balance was in deficit at a time when the government was running on a huge fiscal deficit. The gross fiscal deficit of the government, center and states rose from 9% of gross domestic products in 1980 to 10.4% in 1985 and to 12.7% in 1990. Since these deficits had to be financed by borrowings, the internal debt of the government accumulated rapidly, rising from 35% of GDP at the end of 1980 to 53% of GDP at the end of 1990. The foreign exchange reserves had dried up to the point that India could barely finance 3 weeks' worth of imports. The fall of the Eastern Bloc, which had trade relations with India, and allowed for rupee exchange, caused significant issues. Additionally, the Iraq-Kuwait conflict caused a significant shift in the trade deficit as India relied on these nations for crude oil. In February 1991, the Chandrasekhar government was unable to pass the budget after Moody's downgraded India's bond ratings. The ratings declined further due to the unsuccessful passage of the budget, making it increasingly challenging and expensive for India to borrow money from international capital markets. This placed additional pressure on the country's economy. The International Monetary Fund suspended its loan program to India, and the World Bank also discontinued its assistance. This action limited the government's option to address the crisis and forced it to take drastic measures to avoid defaulting on its payments. In mid-1991, India's exchange rate was subjected to a severe adjustment. This event began with a slide in the value of the Indian rupee leading up to mid-1991. The authorities at the Reserve Bank of India took partial action, defending the currency by expanding international reserves and slowing the decline in value. However, in mid-1991, with foreign reserves nearly depleted, the Indian government permitted a sharp devaluation that took place in two steps within 3 days. The 1st of July and the 3rd of July 1991 against major currencies. Friends, I hope this video will give some satisfaction to your queries. Thank you all, stay healthy everyone, and please don't forget to like, comment, share if you enjoyed this video, and also subscribe our channel Vivekdas Express. Bye, see you soon.